There comes a time in life when the roles between parents and children begin to shift. You spend years raising them, guiding them, putting their needs ahead of yours. But then one day you notice things feel different. Maybe they ignore your advice. Maybe they brush off your opinions. Maybe they speak to you in a way that feels disrespectful. Or worse, they make you feel like you are in the way. And yes, that hurts. If your children have started treating you with less respect than you deserve, it is normal to feel upset, even angry. You might want to remind them of all the sacrifices you have made, the years you put their needs above your own. But here's the truth: getting angry will not help. In fact, it usually makes things harder. There is a much better way to regain their respect, without fighting, without tension, and without building resentment. Today, I will walk you through 6 steps you can take when your children are not treating you with the respect you deserve. These are practical, small changes in your response that can completely shift how they see you. Some of these may surprise you, but if you stay with me until the end, you will learn how to reclaim your role as a respected and valued presence in their lives. Let's begin. Action 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the most common mistakes parents make as they get older is trying too hard to win their children's approval. You may find yourself doing this without even realizing it. You go out of your way to meet their needs. You say yes when you really want to say no. You put your own needs aside, hoping that if you do enough, they will show more appreciation. But here is the hard truth. The more you seek their approval, the less likely they are to give you the respect you want. Respect does not come from giving everything up. It comes from having respect for yourself. When you always give in, always try to keep things smooth, and constantly avoid conflict, you are quietly telling them that your feelings matter less. And when they begin to believe that, it becomes easy for them to stop valuing what you say or do. I knew a woman once, Margaret. She was strong and independent when she was younger, but as she aged, she began letting her children take control. She changed her plans for them, held back her opinions, and stayed quiet even when they spoke to her in a hurtful way. "I just want to keep the family close," she once told me. But what happened? Her children stopped seeing her as a strong figure. They saw someone who would always go along with what they wanted. Someone who stayed quiet to avoid problems. She thought she was holding the family together, but really, she was losing her own voice. If your children are not respecting you, the first thing to do is not to demand it. It is to stop acting like you cannot live without it. Set limits. Say no when needed. Speak up, even if they disagree. Because the moment you begin showing respect for yourself, they will start looking at you differently, and over time, that respect will begin to return. Action 2. Do not argue. Lead by example. When your children talk over you, ignore your input, or act disrespectfully, it is tempting to push back. You might feel like reminding them of all the things you have done, insisting they listen, trying to make them understand. But here is something that can save you a lot of emotional stress. Arguing does not help. Think about it. When was the last time you gained someone's respect by fighting for it? Respect is not won by arguing. It is earned by the way you carry yourself, the way you react when others try to pull you into a fight. Respect is not earned just through words. It is built through your presence, through how you carry yourself and how you respond when others push your limits. If you answer disrespect with anger, all you are doing is proving their belief that they can control your emotions. I once met a man named Frank, a retired school teacher who had spent his career leading classrooms with authority. But at home, his adult children had started treating him as if he did not matter. They ignored what he said, brushed off his concerns, and even laughed when he tried to correct them. At first, he pushed back, trying to show them he still deserved their respect. But the more he argued, the more things fell apart. Then something shifted. Frank stopped trying to win them over with words. Instead, he focused on listening, really listening. He began to carry himself like someone who already knew his worth. He spoke calmly and clearly, without needing to prove anything. Slowly, his children noticed the difference. They saw a man who was not begging for their approval, a man who stood strong without needing to convince anyone, a man who simply showed his strength in how he handled himself. If your children are not treating you with respect, do not fight them for it. Show them what respect looks like by respecting yourself. Stand tall, speak clearly, and above all, do not lower yourself to meet their behavior. When you keep your dignity and respond with calm strength, they will sense it. and in time, they will begin to follow your example. If you are still watching this and feel these ideas are helping, type number 2 in the comments to let me know you are here. And if you have not subscribed yet, consider doing that now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Your support means a lot and helps us keep making helpful content for you. Now let us continue. Action 3. Step back from emotional dependence. One of the toughest truths to accept as you grow older is that you cannot rely on your children to meet your emotional needs. You may love them deeply, and of course you want their love and respect in return. But as soon as they feel that you need them to feel good about yourself, the balance in the relationship starts to shift. Here is the truth. People, even your own children, respect those who are emotionally strong. When you rely on them for approval, love, or attention, it puts pressure on them. Instead of feeling close to you, they begin to feel stressed. That pressure can lead to distance, and they might begin treating you with impatience or even frustration. And the more you chase their love, the less freely they will give it. There was a woman I knew named Helen. She was a warm, caring mother who gave everything to her children. As they grew up and became busy with their own lives, she found herself waiting by the phone, hoping they would call. When they didn't, she would call them. Too often, she would tell them how much she missed them and how she wished they visited more, but instead of bringing them closer, it had the opposite effect. Her calls began to feel like something they had to respond to, not something they looked forward to. Then Helen made a shift. She stopped waiting for the phone to ring. She stopped calling first. Instead, she put energy into herself. She picked up hobbies, spent time with friends, and focused on her own happiness, and something unexpected happened. Her children started reaching out more. They respected her time. They saw her not as someone who needed them, but as someone who had a life of her own. The takeaway is clear. The less you rely on your children to feel valued, the more they will appreciate having you in their lives. When you show them that you are steady on your own, they begin to see you in a new light, respecting you not because they have to, but because they truly admire the life you have created for yourself. Action 4. Set boundaries and stick to them. One major reason children begin to lose respect for their parents is that the parents allow it to happen. If you let your children speak to you poorly, ignore your thoughts, or act like your time and feelings are not important, they will continue to behave that way. Not because they are bad people, but because people, especially those closest to you, treat you the way you allow them to. Setting boundaries does not mean cutting off your children or causing arguments. It means clearly and calmly deciding what kind of behavior you will accept, and just as importantly, acting when those boundaries are crossed. I remember meeting a man named Robert, a retired businessman who had run his company with confidence and control. But with his adult children, he struggled. They would talk over him, ignore his views, and even criticize how he lived. At first, he kept quiet, telling himself it was not worth starting problems. But after a while, Robert realized that by staying silent, he was showing them that their behavior was okay. So he changed how he responded. When his son cut him off during a conversation, Robert calmly said, "I will continue when you are ready to listen." When his daughter brushed off his opinion, he simply replied, "You do not have to agree with me, but I expect to be treated with respect." And when they kept testing him, he made it clear, if they could not treat him properly, he would not be spending time with them. What happened next? They began to listen. At first they pushed back, but over time they saw their father was serious. They saw that he valued himself enough to expect respect, and because of that, they started giving it to him. If your children treat you poorly, ask yourself, are you allowing it? Because if you do not set limits, they will not do it for you. And if you do not speak up for yourself, no one else will. If you are still watching and think this advice is helpful, type number 4 in the comments to let me know you are here. And if you have not subscribed yet, I suggest you do that now. And turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any new videos. Your support helps us keep sharing content that informs and helps you. Now let us keep going. Action 5. Stop giving when there is no appreciation. One of the fastest ways to lose someone's respect is to keep giving to them when they do not value it. And as parents, we do this more often than we realize. We give our time, our energy, and our help, even when it goes unnoticed, even when it is taken for granted, and even when all we get back is entitlement. But here is the truth. When you keep giving to someone who does not show appreciation, you are not creating love or respect. You are creating expectation. They no longer see your help as something special. They start to think they deserve it. And the moment you stop, they are not thankful. They are annoyed. I once met a man named George, a father who had always gone out of his way for his children. He helped them with money whenever they asked. He changed his plans to be there for them. He put their needs ahead of his own. But instead of thanking him, they started complaining. They expected more. And when the time came that George needed support, they said they were too busy. Then something changed. George made a decision. He stopped overdoing it. He stopped offering help before they even asked. Most importantly, he started saying no when necessary. At first, his children were confused. They could not understand why he was no longer going out of his way for them. But gradually, things began to change. They started noticing how valuable his time was. They began to truly appreciate his efforts, because now they understood that his kindness had limits. It was not something guaranteed. It was something special. If you feel like your children are not valuing your time, your energy, or your support, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, are you giving more than you should? And if so, what might change if you stopped? Because when you make it clear that your generosity depends on being respected, others start treating it that way. Action 6. Build a life beyond them. A powerful way to regain your children's respect is to let them see that your happiness does not depend on them. As parents, it is normal to center your world around your children. You raise them, guide them, care for them. But as time goes on, the balance changes. And if your life has always revolved around them, they may start to see you as someone who has nothing else going on. People respect those who have their own direction, their own goals, hobbies, and sense of purpose. If your children notice that you rely on them for joy, meaning, or attention, they might begin to feel trapped. Worse, they might start thinking you have no life outside of them. I once knew a woman named Eleanor, a widow in her late 70s. After her husband passed away, she poured all her time and energy into her children's lives. She called often, gave advice they did not ask for, and expected them to fill the space her husband had once occupied. But instead of bringing them closer, it made them step back. They visited less often, their conversations grew shorter, and Eleanor began feeling even more alone. So she made a decision. She joined a book club, started taking trips with friends, and began volunteering at a local center. She stopped revolving her life around her children, and something unexpected happened. Her children started calling more. They were interested in her stories, impressed by how she was spending her time. They respected her more. If your children are not showing you the respect you hope for, ask yourself, do they see you as someone who has a meaningful life of your own, or do they see you as someone just waiting around for them to show up? Because when they see that you are living a full life, not just getting by, they begin to see you differently. If you are still watching and finding this message helpful, type number 6 below to let me know you are here. And if you have not subscribed yet, I suggest subscribing and turning on the bell so you will not miss upcoming videos. Your support helps us continue making content that adds value to your life. Final thoughts. Respect from your children is not something you can force. It is something you build through how you carry yourself, the limits you set, and the life you choose to live. If they have started treating you with less kindness, less thoughtfulness, or less respect, do not waste your energy getting upset. Instead, adjust your approach. Stop chasing their approval, because the less you depend on it, the more they will offer it. Lead by setting an example. Your self-respect will always say more than your words ever could. Pull back that emotional dependence, because the more independent you become, the more they will value your presence. Set clear boundaries, because people will only treat you as well as you require them to. Stop offering without being appreciated, because when kindness is expected, it loses its meaning, and above all, create a life outside of them. People respect those who have their own direction, their own happiness, and a personal sense of purpose. If you follow these steps, something meaningful will take place. Your children will begin to see you differently, not as someone hoping for their attention, but as someone worthy of respect through their actions and presence. In time, that respect will return, not because you insisted on it, but because you showed you deserved it. Thank you for spending time with us today. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one key takeaway from this video, along with how you plan to apply it in your life. Your feedback means a lot to us, so feel free to speak your mind. Reading your comments gives us valuable encouragement. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep making meaningful content to inform and motivate you. Thank you for watching, and we hope to have you with us again in the next video.